Yeah, I mean, Koori Mail, the hub, it kicked off with Emarina Toby and Naomi Moran, who both are workers at Koori Mail. One is the general manager and the other one did social media. And they kind of set things up the first day of the floods over there with a marquee and a table. We were obviously in Mullum cleaning houses, but it wasn't until I sent a message to Emarina, who was on socials, and just like, okay, we need to get everything we can out to Mob because Mullumbimby was so well-resourced, and I knew Lismore wouldn't have been that same way. So taking my energy and my contacts and my networks from here, we moved over there, I think, on the 2nd of March. And then the hub just started to expand. And I think one of the biggest things about that hub is that for us, it's the first time we've seen a First Nations-led response team in this region for a natural disaster, but also kind of across the country that's worked on such a large scale of give back. We've been working with not only Indigenous communities, but non-Indigenous communities in Lismore and surrounds. Jatea has also come and done volunteering there on Fridays in the op shop with Annie Rose. And we've really set up and established quite an amazing resource for our community, and it's still going. 3 months in, we're still there 6 days a week, and we're trying to provide all the best services we can, from wellbeing teams to free op shops to free Koori calls is what we call it, hot meals every day, pumping out like 1,000 meals a day.
Wow.
And also helping people with volunteer registration, which is partnering up tradesmen or clean teams and just basic people that can go into people's homes and help assist them in all different realms in their life right now. So it felt hectic, and now it's starting to feel a little bit hopeful, but also there's no real light at the end of the tunnel right now. We don't really have any answers of what's going on with Lismore in general, and there's still so many homes, like over 4,000 completely condemned, like unlivable. And as we're starting to notice right now at the hub, mental health is starting to definitely increase, as in people are out of that adrenal phase and they're into the reality and the shock of what's actually happened. There's a lot less support there, so that also increases the kind of collective vibration of mental anguish. And yeah, we're just trying to hold in there the best we can, but we're also a completely unfunded group of volunteers just running that hub, essentially. Any of the money that is raised through Koori Mail is going directly into the hands of families and not into any admin whatsoever.
How's the funding going? Has you seen the taper off, the slowdown after as the adrenaline goes down, or has there been channels that have continued?
Yeah, I mean, the funding's been good in terms of the 2 funds that we have, and Naomi Moran, who's the general manager, is really looking after that space, as in like she's in charge of organising which families get certain things. But for example, Jatea's grandma just moved to Grafton and she had to go when we organised her a ute and a delivery team to help. We're doing all these kinds of different services for Indigenous people who have to move out of the region due to being flood affected or because they have to go because of housing. So yeah, it's a much bigger flow-on effect than just the water.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of a response, it's been the adrenal adjustment response. I mean, I guess, where a month afterwards, I guess the adrenalization started to go down, but now, as you said, it's getting to such an extreme extent where the crashing is gone. The resilience is starting to actually, people start going into eggshells and the mental health stuff really starts taking root. It's not just, oh my God, this is hard. It's like, no shit, this is going to have legs if we don't address it. It's a hard one. It's a very macro question about like how you're approaching it, especially approaching with mob. And of course, there's great Western approaches to it that are valid and awesome. But is there anything unique that you're bringing that you're seeing is actually working and landing mental health-wise?
I mean, I think in terms of Indigenous and non-Indigenous and run by Indigenous people at the hub, the one big thing I'm seeing is an actual transformation in the reconciliation journey, where a lot of Lismore and beyond are really seeing this First Nations response team with deep respect. And I think for some people, it's the first time they've been given that opportunity to be seen as a respectful person in their community. Unfortunately, we have a horrible history in this country of racism, and it impacts Indigenous people. And I am a fair-skinned Indigenous person who gets to actually walk through the world and not have to deal with that racism so much. In fact, I just deal with people telling me, like, you don't look black, but that's okay, rather than what other people in our team and beyond and family members that I have have to deal with. So one thing that's great about this actually is that for our team, it's an incredible way for us to have purpose and to show up to the community and to say, this is what we're going to do to protect you because that's our role, and reclaim what our cultural role is here, which is to protect all community, anybody that is on these lands, that us that have blood ties to these lands, it's our purpose to be here to protect everybody, more than human kin, and the natural world included in that space. In terms of what programs are we looking to implement, at the moment we just are starting to apply for grants, because the biggest thing for us is actually, yes, the healing and the rebuild. And one of those things is, how do we bring cultural camps together, which are based on health and wellness, but through an Indigenous lens, and looking at it in...
And Indigenous run.
Yeah, and all Indigenous run. So that's some programs we're looking to implement, myself included with my charity, The Returning, but also Uncle Noel King, who is a dear lawman and elder, trying to secure him funding to start working with youth. Yeah, and also just continue the youth work that all of us want to be doing, really. You know, it's like a dream for us to be able to work with our young ones and teach them different ways of being in this world that can be so chaotic regardless of your race.